we'll do at the end of the regular meeting.
Yes, unless you want to do it at the beginning. I'll leave it up to you, Mayor.
No, we'll go ahead and do it at the end. Thank you. All right, everyone, apologies for the delay. I'm going to go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Cathedral City Council for January 28th, 2026 to order. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And after that, please remain standing for an invocation.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us observe a moment of silence for Renee Good and Alex Preddy, who died tragically in an incident with ICE agents in Minnesota. Help us to embrace the challenge and responsibility we have as leaders. Guide us to lead with integrity and common sense. Give us the wisdom to make intelligent decisions. Give us the courage to make tough decisions. Give us the character to make the right decisions. Help us to always be welcoming, inclusive, and open because of our vision and our mission to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lamb and Councilmember Gordon. All right, the next item is roll call. City Clerk.
Councilmember Gordon?
Here.
Councilmember Ross? Here. Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez?
Here.
Mayor Gregory?
Here. All right, the next item on our agenda is agenda finalization, and I know we do have a change to the agenda. City Manager, would you like to outline that?
Yes, Mayor. We had one item from study session that we ran out of time to hear, which was the Regional Climate Action Plan update and Cathedral City Next Steps. That will be added to the regular legislative portion of this meeting.
Thank you so much. And we also will be reporting the results of our closed session at the end of the meeting.
Mayor, one request, if it's amenable to the council. The staff member that we have to present that item is one of our hourly employees, and we'd like to be able to bring that before the other legislative items, if that's okay.
You're saying that item, you're referring to,
The the climate action plan item.
so you would like that to be at the beginning of the legislative calendar?
Yes, please.
Council, any objection? Okay, that'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda is public comments. This is on non-agenda items. This is the chance for the public to comment on any item that is not on tonight's agenda. You will be limited to 3 minutes in your comments. And just remember, we won't be able to have any discussion on any thing you bring forward since it's not on our agenda. But we may ask staff to put it on a later agenda or answer any clarifying questions. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
We do have one request to speak, Ms. Janet Ream.
Welcome back.
Good evening,
Thank you.
Mayor and council members. I'm back. Since the last meeting, we have still having our same issues as we've had for the last 2 years with the smell. As a matter of fact, driving over here tonight, out on Ramon Road, it was terribly strong. Granted, you know, there's some days that we don't get it as bad because for some reason this season, we're not getting that directional wind, but we still get it. The reporting through the, through the website, so many of the residents and things are getting so frustrated with trying to get into that. I understand it's just a pilot program and it's not a guarantee that it's going to stay or it's going to be the same. But a lot of them are going back to the original Cathedral City site to report a concern. And then they will get back something from the city saying, yes, we have received it. Whereas if you go through the other one, you're getting nothing from that. And people think that they should get some recognition that they did receive it and that, you know, let's categorize it or whatever we're going to do. I don't know how, you know, the small little businesses on Perez are still having a hard time with the smells and stuff. How in the world we're ever going to get that large of 10 times the size to not smell on a regular basis? We're still hoping, but it doesn't sound real promising because it's like we take 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And this has been such an ongoing issue for all of us that, again, I'm going to reiterate that please do not allow that second building to even be considered to be built. And please just work to get this, you know, either under control or find another solution for all people who live anywhere and the businesses. They're suffering too, same as the residents, for not having 7 days a week that they could ever count on, for not smelling so bad at different hours, different days. A lot of it's in the middle of the night and people wake up, you know, because they sleep with their windows open. But please just keep trying to help us, would you please? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your comments. Okay. So we do not allow audible outbursts. I know you're trying to support, you're trying to be positive, but we are going to enforce the rules. No audible outbursts, okay? Everyone here should feel welcome to speak, so we don't allow cheering or jeering or booing or any of those types of things. So thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to comment on items not on the agenda? I see no more, Mayor.
All right, then we'll close public comments on non-agenda items and move forward with our consent agenda, which is the next thing. I'm sorry, council reports. I skipped over council reports, some of the favorite times of the night. And we'll go ahead and start with Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. I've had a busy 2 weeks. On the 16th, I met Councilmember Carnevale's son, Nick Carnevale, at his request, and he shared with me just some information about his dad and being on the council and being sort of a council family, which I really appreciated. I also met with 4 of the other applicants for this job. Joe Camareno, who applied and then withdrew, as well as Jason Clausen, Ava Dupree Holmes, and Colby Gregory. We had wonderful conversations about ways in which they want to stay involved in our community, potential opportunities, ideas they had for our city, which was really a wonderful way to just stay connected to those people who raised their hands in service. On the 19th, MLK Day, I took a tour of the Cathedral City Senior Center Food Bank and saw that operation in full swing. It was mind-blowing, really impressive. There are service providers, there are volunteers, there are so many things to serve our community and serve our community with dignity and with care. So I was very impressed, and I appreciate Jeff Corbin for taking me on that tour. I went to dinner with Patsy on the 21st, which was in support of, it was at the Sunshine Cafe, it was in support of the Cathedral City Police Officers Association. Spoke with members of the community there. And then on the 24th, I went to the food drive at the grocery outlet that the food bank at the senior center was hosting, and bought a case of cereal for donation. I will just share that cereal, pasta sauce are always high on the list for the food bank. So that's what I've been up to.
All right, thanks very much. Sounds like you've been very busy. All right, next is Councilmember Ross.
Thank you so much. I worked with the Golden State Oklahoma Owners League, the GSMOL, as a legislative liaison to push forward ways to better work with management and owners. Sounds easy, quite hard, but I'll continue working on it. I worked with the RAP Foundation to organize the finances of what was the upcoming event for the Animal Campus Outdoor Field Officers. We met as a group, interviewed candidates to be our next city manager, and just before that, we did for our council members, so that was nice, and welcome aboard. Bob and I attended along with you and your husband, Sasan, at Sunshine Cafe, also for the dinner with Patsy. We attended a ribbon cutting the next morning for the new Starbucks on Vista Chino, a very nice location, and of course, Starbucks, great coffee, and more. On the 23rd, along with Manny Perez, his wife, and his staff, and 87 other people, we celebrated the outdoor field officers at P.F. Chang's for a great dinner party. We gave plaques to 15 honorees along with Visa gift cards. The event was financially supported by our supervisor, along with our Congressman Raul Ruiz, Senator Rosalicio Ochoa Bogue, and Assemblyman Greg Wallace. And I can say without a doubt, it was a great event. Those outdoor workers don't often get recognized or spend time with each other. And I'm just going to stop there and say what inspired having this in the first place was about a year and a half ago, maybe it's closer to 2 years now. One of the officers in San Diego was actually mauled to death while out doing his job. And, you know, we don't really think of the outdoor officers as having a dangerous job, but apparently they do. And so we wanted to do something to kind of special them up. I'm the chair of the Riverside County Animal Campus, so it made sense that I made that happen. So it was inspiring to me to have them all in a room together. It was heartwarming. You could see them with their families, so happy. The room was filled with laughter the entire night. I kind of had to push them out at some point. It's like, okay, we've been here for 4 hours. On Sunday, I attended the American Express Golf Tournament with the staff of Burtec. It was a full day, but I left and rushed over to the amphitheater for the Mineria Symphony Orchestra of Mexico, which was outstanding. Monday was the day I got my huge knee brace, which I only tell you because you're going to see it hanging out below my dress, and I hate it very much, but hopefully it's just temporary for a few months. Yesterday, I worked in office all morning, getting ready for my commissions for the week, which were and are Sunline Transit, where I sit on the Financial and Audit Committee and the Chair of Board Operations, also CVAG's Energy and Environment Commission, the Coachella Valley Mosquito and Vector Control as a trustee, and lastly, as I said, the Coachella Valley Animal Campus, where I serve as board chair. Tomorrow night, I'll be at an event with Congressman Raul Ruiz, and on the 30th, I'll be attending the Fine Food Bank annual event with Debbie Espinoza, the CEO, and she will share the last year of successes and, of course, struggles during a time that their funding has been severely cut by the federal government. And now, here we are together, so I'm going to lighten it up by just saying I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you caring about our city like we do up here. And thanks for coming, listening, and watching. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Next up is Councilmember Lamb.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I too attended the opening of the Starbucks on Vistachino and Date Palm, and I certainly want to shout out to Victor Gomez and Adam Chastain for doing another spectacular job. They are launching another 4-week series on February 5th for small businesses, and this one I believe is AI or technology bent or marketing. I'm not quite sure the theme of it, but they are instrumental in rejuvenating, enhancing, and supporting our small businesses, of which Cathedral City depends. So hats off to them. And I also attended the very first yoga in the amphitheater on this Tuesday. The Parks and Community Events Commission, and hats off to Antonio Beishu, because he and I attended Sunnylands Yoga years ago, and Antonio suggested, hey, how come we can't do it here? And I said, great idea, and that's all, and he made it happen. And we had over 164 people, and thank you for giving me the stats on that. And I want a special recognition to Gary Marshall. Gary Marshall served as our Parks and Community Events Commissioner for years, then left, retired, and still helps out, every way he can, in any way he can. He was over at the Esperanza Park for that opening, and just lots of ways. But the idea of using our amphitheater for community events that are health-minded and for the support of tourists and residents alike is just absolutely wonderful. We have 2 instructors. There's a gentle yoga at 8:30 and a power yoga at 10 a.m. It's January, I think it was the 25th, all the way through March 31st. So it's on every Tuesday. But it's a full house and people are happy. There are mats available if you don't bring one. Just a really, really nice event. And the marketing from the city, they initiated to have NBC come out and actually do live coverage for us. So that was wonderful to get the word out and make this resource available to everybody. And it was great fun. And Terry Hargraves was there. And Councilmember Gordon was talking about the volunteerism that's so evident at the food bank. Terry Hargraves has served as a volunteer in our city over the years since I've known her and since I've been involved in council in 2019. And she also serves on our Finance Advisory Committee. And she went to the symphony on Sunday, and I wasn't able to attend, but she said it was just wonderful. So good for us that we're getting to use the amphitheater and really highlighting the beautiful facility that it is that we have available here. Saturday, January 31st at 11 a.m., we're going to have another 6th year of emergency preparedness workshops, and we're going to be joined again by the Coachella Valley Disaster Preparedness Network. So please take advantage of that. If you're listening, we try to do it twice a year. We have bilingual assistance, and another one that we host in June is usually at Agua Caliente Elementary School, and that is specifically in bilingual. So it's a great resource, and with the recent earthquakes, I think now's the time to get your grab-and-go kits ready, because you never know. So
And say where?
It's at the library. Excuse me. Thank you so much for telling. And at 8:30 that same morning is the badge pinning for our Cathedral City Fire Department. And Chief Contreras has done a phenomenal job in initiating that, making it happen, and recognizing all those young people that want to be part of our fire department, our public service. And the last thing is, I represent the city of Cathedral City on the Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy. Our next meeting is until February 9th. We've gone from monthly meetings to quarterly. But on Sunday, February 1st, they're having a bench dedication in honor of Buford Kreitz. And so those of you that have lived in the desert for a long time, Buford Kreitz passed away about 8 years ago. He was involved in many commissions across this desert and done amazing input and support for the multiple species habitat plan, which affects all of the communities and the environment in the Coachella Valley. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Since we last met, of course, we just don't have council meetings and we meet every other Wednesday. But we actually had a special city council meeting that had lasted 8 hours, another lasted about 5 hours. So we stay busy, not just here, but in commission meetings and other events that we attend. And of course, I also attended the grand opening of the Starbucks, which is located in Visachino and Daypalm. The location, they completely transformed the interior. And if you haven't been there, it is absolutely beautiful. I'm sure it's going to do well. The employees were telling us that as soon as they opened the doors, they just had cars out the door, just people everywhere. And often I take the opportunity to drive around my district to see what's going on, to see what's new, how can I improve the district, what can I do as far as street maintenance or the condition of the streets or code enforcement, something I can do. And actually, it does pay off. I spotted an illegal food vendor who's selling food out of their home after hours, which I'm going to pass out the information to the Code Enforcement Division to let them know, to make sure that I believe they're illegal, but we'll check. So that's one thing that you do find out when you drive around. I also attended the American Express golf tournament along with Councilmember Ross here. And coming up this Friday, I will be attending the Visit Greater Palm Springs Commission meeting, which will be held at the Marriott. And that is a very important commission. They're in charge of promoting the entire Coachella Valley to the world, not just the United States, but to the world. And they operate with a budget of approximately between $22 to $25 million, and that's what they utilize to actually bring companies and conventions to the Coachella Valley. And also coming up, I'm also a part of the Development Steering Committee, which concentrates in the development code, the new zoning code for our city. That's coming up February 3rd. And on February 10th, before the next meeting, make sure that you attend the Taste and Sounds of Cathedral City. That takes place at 5 o'clock. Radio Rady is going to be the first band that is going to be playing. They are really good. Make sure you attend. And of course, February 7th, City Council and staff will be participating in a goal setting. And that is the day that we actually come up with ideas of where we want to bring and take our city to the next level and what our goals are for the next either year or for the future. And also, I'll be attending along with our mayor and possibly council here, a Cal City Division meeting, which is going to be held, I believe it's in Beaumont.
It is.
Yep, so that will take place February 9th. Before our next meeting. So that's all I have to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Busy, busy, busy. Everybody's busy. It's only been 2 weeks. I also have had a chance to attend numerous community events, meet with a few residents. I also attended the 2 special meetings that Mayor Pro Tem referenced, along with the rest of the council. So yes, very, very busy. I did also have the opportunity to represent the Cathedral City, the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Homelessness Committee, and that was at a place called Coachella Valley Behavioral Health Center in Indio. It is actually an inpatient mental health hospital there. They have 60 beds open right now in this phase. 80 beds will be their total capacity. It's very large, very locked down facility. So it was very interesting to be able to attend that and represent the city. We have on our agenda tonight a little bit of shift of reassignments. So I let them know that if everything went as planned, that Council Member Gordon would be their city representative on that committee going forward. But I was happy to be able to attend that. I also attended the Starbucks grand opening. I echo what my colleagues said about it being a great space. So every once in a while somebody says another Starbucks, but I'm telling you, they're busy, they're nice, they're doing a good job, and to me it shows a bit of the factor of desirability and activity in Cathedral City when another Starbucks opens in town and it stays busy, along with all of our other great shops and coffee shops. I also did have the opportunity to attend the Mineria Symphony Orchestra of Mexico last Sunday. It was put on by the Palm Springs Friends of the Philharmonic. If you remember, Lee from the Philharmonic came and told us about it a while back. Very, very well done. Thanks to him and Hawker Productions that also did a lot of work there. And of course, our great communications and event staff was there making sure that everything went smoothly and that our city was well represented. I was, of course, joined by my colleagues for portions of it, Councilmember Gordon and Councilmember Ross, and also I saw the city manager there too, Ann Ambrose, and I'm sure there were probably other staff members off and on during the day. It was a full 4 or so hour, 5-hour probably event because it ran a little over what the scheduled time was. Cathedral City High School was there with their jazz band. You heard them before, they're great. The folklorico dancers were there, again from Cathedral City. Marissa Corvo was an American Idol singer, sang a couple of sessions. And then my favorite mariachis Arco Iris, the LGBT mariachi group was there. Excellent performance. They are performing here in Cathedral City weekly, they announced, at Santa Fe Restaurant on Sundays for their brunch. So they're not just any old mariachi group. They have a great backstory, but they're also just good. They are good performers. So that was great. And then you think, well, that's got to be the highlight of the day, right? And then this huge 80-piece symphony orchestra took the stage, super high quality. And I have to tell you, I was very proud of Cathedral City and our Cathedral City Amphitheater during that concert because you can see the mountains, you can see the sky, and listen to this great symphony orchestra right here in Cathedral City. That facility performs great for that type of thing, for all types of events. But it was great. So with that, then of course I had to get back to business. Last Monday I did attend the Riverside County Transportation Commission's budget and implementation meeting, and it was all about budget updates for their fiscal year and projections for the next year. So many of the kind of things that we do here, just at a different scale and a different focus. And speaking of the Riverside County Transportation Commission, starting tomorrow afternoon and through Friday morning, they will be having their annual workshop. They do an annual workshop somewhere in the county each year. This one, I think for the first time, is going to be in Cathedral City. It's going to be at the DoubleTree by Hilton, and it will start tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's focused solely on transportation. On the agenda tomorrow afternoon is the awarding of the contract for the next phase of the environmental process for this thing called Coachella Valley Rail. $75 million is to be approved tomorrow. With the $5 million contingency, it's going to be a little over $80 million. That's scheduled to be approved tomorrow, right here in Cathedral City. I will be chairing that meeting, as I am the chair this year of the Riverside County Transportation Commission. And as already been stated, our next meeting is Wednesday, February 11th, but if you haven't seen enough of us, you can catch most of us probably at the first Taste and Sounds on Tuesday, February 10th, listening to Radio Ready, and that's then Taste and Sounds will go weekly, I think through late March. Early April, okay. I must not have them all on my calendar yet because I looked and they went all the way through Giselle Wu. Are there some more after Giselle Wu? April 7th is our open day for any brand new scheduling. Okay. All right. Well, they'll be going, and if you haven't done the Taste and Sounds, they are another great event, free here in our amphitheater. There's always a food truck or two there, sometimes a dessert tent or something. You can BYOB to most events. And so it's a great opportunity here right in Cathedral City. And so, again, thanks to our communications and event staff for continuously putting that on. And if you still hadn't had enough of us, on Saturday, February 7th, as has already been mentioned, we will be having our strategic planning session, our annual session. That's going to be here in the study session room starting, I think, at 8 o'clock on that Saturday morning. So I'll come bleary-eyed, but it'll be a great day. All right, and with that, I will end my comments. And now we're ready for the consent agenda. City Clerk.
Mayor, did you say 1 o'clock?
Item 3A is to waive full reading of ordinances on the agenda. Item 3B is to receive and file the Commissioner Committee member attendance record. Item 3C is the approval of the special meeting minutes of January 7th, January 20th, and January 2021, and the regular meeting minutes of January 14th. Item 3D is to review the list of agency assignments and ratify the appointments. Item 3E is to approve $500 from the Parks and Community Events Commission fiscal year 2025-2026 pay small events budget to support the Esperanza Community Health Fair event for February 2026. Item 3F is to reject bids for the construction of Highway Safety Improvement Program, HSIP Cycle 11A, 18 unsignalized intersection upgrades project C08754. Item 3G is to adopt a resolution accepting the public improvements and certifying completion of private improvements in a portion of amended track number 31774, Capanilli, and release securities. Item 3H is to provide second reading by title only and adopt an ordinance adding section 5.96.090 to chapter 5.96 of the Cathedral City Municipal Code to implement Senate Bill 346, the Short-Term Rental Facilitator Act of 2025. Item 3I is to provide second reading by title only and adopt an ordinance approving zoning ordinance amendment 25-0001, amending section 9.24.030.b of chapter 9.24 of Title IX of the Cathedral City Municipal Code to add schools as a conditionally permitted use in the resort residential district. And that concludes the consent agenda.
All right, council, any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I'm going to recuse myself from item 3G because I own property in that area.
All right, so you'll just be recusing yourself for the vote on that item, and will you be then voting on your vote you cast will only be on the remaining items, is that correct?
Correct.
That's right,
All right.
Mayor, and for the public, typically you'll see a council member step down from the dais when we have a conflict, but under California law, the consent calendar is acted upon with one vote, so they allow the council member who has a conflict to just state the conflict. They can stay up at the dais, they'll participate in the one vote, but the clerk's note will show that the vote on item 3G will only be from 4 of the council members, and it will indicate that Councilmember Gordon has recused herself.
Thank you so much for clarifying. All right, are there any public comments on the consent agenda?
I did not receive any request to speak forms. If you're a member of the public and you'd like to comment on the consent agenda, please raise your hand. And I see none.
All right, thank you. We turn it back to the council for further discussion or a vote.
I'll move to approve.
Have a motion to approve by
Second.
Councilmember Lamb, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Okay. All right, please vote on your screen.
Okay.
Councilmember Lamb, Councilmember Ross, do you see the vote option?
Not yet.
Okay. Councilmember Ross,
I'm waiting. It says waiting.
if you'd like to verbalize your vote.
Just a minute. It's not. You want to just do a verbal thing? It's.
Yes.
Or you can come around and help me.
It doesn't come around. It's not coming.
Let's go ahead and verbalize your vote, and then I'll take a look.
Great.
Vote out loud. You.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. All ayes,
Except for
except
one.
for
which you-
item 3G.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 on that one.
Thank you so much. All right, we're getting there. We're now on to our legislative calendar now. We are moving the item from the study session to be the first item on our legislative calendar. So that is the Regional Climate Action Plan Update and Cathedral City Next Steps. City Manager, would you like to introduce the item?
Yes, Mayor. So I'd like to introduce Luis Perez from our Environmental Conservation Analyst. He's going to be doing this presentation to give the council an overview of the Regional Comprehensive Climate Action Plan and to further discuss how utilizing that data will help the city plan for updates to our local plan.
Thanks so much. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you, City Manager. Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and I'd like to welcome Councilmember Gordon to the council. My name is Luis Perez. I'm with the Environmental Conservation Department, and I'll be covering for Deanna on this presentation, covering the Regional Climate Action Plan update and Cathedral City's next steps. So a little bit of background. When you think of anything related to air quality and climate policy, you're going to think of CARB. It's California Air Resources Board, which was adopted in 1967 to lead agencies for air quality and climate policy. CARB's authority was expanded over the years through major legislation, including the California Clean Air Act of 1988, the AB 32 Global Warming Solutions Act of 2006, and the SB 32, which is an expansion of AB 32, which is meant to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 40% to below 1990 levels by 2030. CARB policies were implemented locally through planning, environmental review, municipal operations, and eligibility for state and regional funding programs, otherwise known as grants. Cathedral City plays a direct role in implementing CARB policies through planning and the California Environmental Quality Act, or otherwise known as CEQA. It's through maintaining a climate action plan that's aligned with CARB and state greenhouse gas targets, mitigating greenhouse gas emissions under CEQA, and ensuring consistency with state climate policy. In addition is land use and transportation, which is through incorporating emissions-reducing strategies into the general plan and housing elements, promoting reduced vehicle miles traveled, as well as coordinating with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, SoCal Association of Governments, and South Coast Air Quality Management District. So some Cathedral City responsibilities would also include municipal operations. So it's transitioning to city fleet to zero emission vehicles. So right now, we're already currently in that aspect of it. Several departments are already have EV vehicles on hand. So we're a little bit ahead of the game on that one. We're complying with Building Energy Standards, Title 24, Cal Green, and we're implementing SB 1383, organics recycling and methane reduction. Some consequences of non-compliance are CEQA litigation, increased exposure to lawsuits and project delays, which is never good, funding risk, reduced competitiveness for state and regional grants, penalties, program-specific fines, such as SB 1383 related fines that carry up to $10,000 a day, and penalties, and the loss of local control, greater likelihood of state oversight. So I'm going to provide a quick little overview of the review of the Regional Comprehensive Climate Action Plan, which I won't blame you if you didn't read it because it's about 500 pages long, so I won't blame you. But the RCCAP is very essential to updating the Cathedral City's Climate Action Plan, as it basically allows it to be a foundation for the Climate Action Plan as we begin to update it. So a little bit more on the CCAP. The Regional Comprehensive Climate Action Plan developed by CVAG. In 2023, the federal government awarded a grant to develop a regional climate action plan for the San Bernardino, Riverside, and Ontario area. The grant was administered by CVAG in coordination with participating cities across the region, including Cathedral City. The regional plan is regional planning document or a data and analysis tool. Think of it almost like a guidance document in a way. The regional plan is not a mandate or spending commitment, and it's not a requirement to adopt any sort of policies. So it's essentially just a guideline in a way for us to follow and adopt if we will. The regional plan looked at several aspects. As I said, the document is quite vast, but some aspects of it are transportation, waste and water, building and energy, and equipment and agriculture. What the regional plan tells us about Cathedral City. So there's a little broad little diagram on the left side. It captures how our emissions are in Cathedral City for the year 2023. As you can see, the highest emissions are related to on-road transportation, both light and heavy duty. buildings and energy, residential, commercial, electric, and natural gas, as well as off-road equipment, construction, and landscape equipment. So you would imagine when we begin to update the climate action plan, we would target those aspects to ensure that the emissions are reduced. What the regional plan tells us about Cathedral City. So as the years go on, growth is obvious. Population is projected to increase modestly by 2030 and more significantly by 2045. Households and employment expected to outpace population growth, which means more energy use, transportation demand, and infrastructure needs. Some aspects include reduction targets and performance. So Cathedral City's CAP includes a 30% greenhouse gas reduction target by 2030, consistent with state law at the time it was adopted. The regional plan shows the city is on track to meet this target through existing state programs and local actions. How the regional CCAP helps Cathedral City update its own climate action plan. It provides a clear baseline for measuring progress, kind of how I mentioned, it's a guideline. It helps basically initiate the process. An understanding of which sectors matter most and will provide the greatest reduction potential. I highlighted these three: transportation, building, energy, and solid waste. We'd most likely target those to reduce emissions. And provides no-cost technical analysis that informs future policy, infrastructure, and funding decisions while supporting air quality, public health, and long-term cost savings. Now, when it comes to the city climate action plan, the 2013 climate action plan, why it needs to be updated. Cathedral City's climate action plan was adopted back in 2013 with a time frame ranging around 2013 to 2020. That was basically encompassed the climate action plan. It provides a framework to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across key community sectors and also delivers co-benefits such as cost savings, cleaner air, safer, and more efficient transportation and quality of life. Cathedral City's additional why it needs to be updated. It's important as a regulatory alignment. California law requires cities to plan greenhouse gas emissions reduction, and grant eligibility. Many state and utility funding programs require an adopted and updated CAP to qualify for funding, so it's essential for grant opportunities. Local control, adopt strategies that make sense locally and align with existing priorities such as public health and air quality. Some next steps for the city. Using the regional comprehensive climate action plan data as a technical foundation to update the city's local climate action plan and tailor reduction measures to reflect city priorities, feasibility, and funding opportunities. CAP will include an electrical vehicle transition plan aligned with upcoming state mandates, consideration of publicly accessible charging infrastructure, and both of these items are in coordination with CVAG and other Coachella Valley cities. This approach allows the city to leverage regional efforts while maintaining full decision-making authority. Fiscal impact. The regional comprehensive climate action plan was fully funded by a federal EPA grant. For the city's CAP currently, there is no fiscal impact associated with this item. However, as staff proceeds with updating the climate action plan, there will be fiscal impacts that have been budgeted and will be presented at that time for city council approval. Strategic plan goal, we always like to go back to our goals. So goal B, community investment, action item B1, it kind of just encompasses the electric vehicle transition plan, as well as working with CVAG and other Coachella Valley cities to develop the climate action plan. The recommendation, staff is recommending to initiate a scope and timeline for updating Cathedral City's climate action plan, develop cost estimates and verify funding sources, explore opportunities for community input and outreach, as well as develop an outline of how the climate action plan update could advance an electric vehicle transition plan. That concludes my presentation. Back to you, Mayor Gregory.
All right, thank you, Luis. All right, council. As Luis shared with us, is quite a large document, but if most of us probably did what I did and zeroed in on the little section that had to do with Cathedral City. Still several pages long and quite interesting, but it's good to hear that we're expected to meet our 2030 goals by doing what we're already doing. Yes. And I know this council has always been very supportive when a vehicle purchase comes up, or hopefully before it comes to us, when staff is looking to make a vehicle purchase, even if it's not something necessarily covered by some type of a grant, we make a concerted effort to see if there's an electric vehicle option for that. So it sounds like that's been helpful, and I'm sure that we would want staff to continue to do that. It sounds like the plan that you'll be putting together may have certain actions like that actually spelled out in the plan?
Yes. Mhm, yes.
Okay. All right. Council, any questions or comments? Councilmember Lamb?
Just a quick one. Thanks.
I'm just gonna-
Please go
All
ahead.
right.
The only comment I wanted to make, is that okay? or-
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. On pages 93, starting at 93, and that's where you talked about local measures and on-road transportation. I'm going to take this definitely to our strategic planning session on February 7th, because there are a lot of comments about how to green and reduce the temperature, in areas that are heat intense like this is, and talking about trees and how that unfolds into our planning and building codes, and just have a conversation about that at a smaller table. But anyway, this was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Ross.
Thank you. I have an EV. One of the things I thought was really helpful was to have a home charger. I have solar, so it was an off-put cost kind of a thing. But do you have any information that could be shared about the cost of private charging at people's homes? Because that's one of the real foundational things to get people to buy EVs, is that they don't have to drive around the city looking for a place that isn't taken by another car,
Right.
and all the downsides of EV.
On hand, I don't have it on me right now, but I could always get back to you with that information.
really appreciate that.
That's not a
Thanks.
problem at all. Mhm.
Thanks. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, so it sounds like what you're going to be doing is going to be putting together a Cathedral City-specific plan.
Yes.
Or at least at this point, coming up with the scope, which I imagine would also look at like what's the goal year going to be?
Yes. Mhm.
And the timeline for that, and maybe some funding like grants or something that could pay
Yes.
for it, and then you'll be putting that all together, you and your
Yes.
department, and coming back to us. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, and we
So-
also have the AB 939 fund, which will help fund this as well.
Excellent. Okay, so at this point, this is just a presentation for information, right? You don't need any specific direction from us. It sounds like we're all supportive of the measures that you're already doing, along with the electric vehicles, with the composting, and with, of course, making sure building codes follow the appropriate energy-saving guidelines. So thank you so much for all that you do and for the presentation.
Of course.
All right, so then we can head back to our regular meeting, legislative action. The next item is a traffic signal head back plates change order request for the HSIP Cycle 11C. And City Manager, do you have an introduction?
And Mayor, just really quickly, we did not have any public comments for that item.
That's right. Antonio, any public comments on that last item? Nothing? Okay, thank you.
Mayor Andrew Lee from our engineering department will be presenting this item, and we'll be discussing the reasons why we need a change order to change out the heads on our traffic signals and what the funding sources are going to be to support that.
All right, thank you, Interim City Manager. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, tonight I'll be presenting the change order request for the citywide traffic signal hardware upgrades project, also known as HSIP 11C. Starting off with some background, in 2022, with City Council approval, City staff submitted 4 applications for the Highway Safety Improvements Program, or HSIP, Cycle 11 call for projects. All 4 projects were approved by the Department of California Transportation. And just to provide some information for the council and the public, city staff internally assigns a corresponding letter to each of the 4 projects, and that's why we have HSIP 11A, B, C, and D. So the topic of tonight's discussion is the HSIP Cycle 11C, Citywide Traffic Signal Hardware Upgrades Project. This project has a 90-10 split with Caltrans, meaning Caltrans will provide 90% of the funding through HSIP funds, and the city is required to provide the other 10%. All right. In 2024 and 2025, with Caltrans and City Council approval, city staff completed the preliminary engineering, or the PE phase of the project. Once the PE phase was completed, Caltrans authorized the city to move to the construction phase, and the City Council awarded a construction contract to Econolite Systems and a professional services agreement for construction engineering to RT Engineering and Associates. A brief overview of the project. The project will improve 49 signalized intersections throughout the city, and it includes the installation of LED safety lighting, which are the safety lights that are on the traffic signal poles themselves, as well as traffic signal backplates with retroreflective borders. And both the improvements are shown on this slide. All right. So prior to the start of construction, the contractor, the construction engineering consultant, and city staff conducted a field evaluation of existing conditions. Out of the 778 traffic signal heads that were included in the bid proposal, 39 traffic signal heads were already upgraded. 142 signal heads are obsolete, and we'll go into detail on the next slide. And 597 signal heads are compatible and can be completed per plan. So coming back to the 142 obsolete traffic signal heads, during design, city staff and STC, the design consultant, assumed that all existing traffic signal heads could be retrofitted. Now, with the construction field evaluation, it was determined that 142 of these signal heads could not be retrofitted. Now, due to the age and mixed models of the existing traffic signal equipment, a more detailed field verification during design would have helped identify these obsolete components earlier. City staff and the design consultant share responsibility for that oversight. This project has reinforced an important learning curve when it comes to upgrading legacy infrastructure throughout the city, some of which were inherited prior to incorporation. As we move towards updated standards and regulations, staff will incorporate more robust field verification efforts during design on projects involving upgrades of aging infrastructure to reduce similar issues. The proposed change order includes removing and replacing 142 obsolete traffic signal heads with brand new traffic signal heads with the retroreflective backplates, and also a reduction of 39 heads that have already been upgraded. The proposed change order is in the amount of $107,129.84, with the city's match being 10% of this, just under $11,000. So coming back to the construction budget that was previously approved, is shown on this slide, which includes the contractor's bid amount, the cost for construction engineering services, and a contingency for a total encumbrance of $838,800. Now, shown on this slide, change order number 1 is within the previously authorized contingency. However, as construction has not yet started, the contingency balance may be insufficient to address any unforeseen conditions that could arise once work begins. So, the new revised construction cost includes the original bid amount, the original cost for construction engineering services, and the change order amount shown on this slide. Now, city staff recommends a 10% contingency to the revised construction cost due to the number of intersections and varying legacy hardware. And shown on this slide is the revised construction budget, and just want to note that the revised construction budget is still within the HSIP grant amount. Right? So the difference between the new revised construction budget and the previously authorized construction budget is in the amount of $47,875.11. And also want to note that there are programmed Measure A funds that are available to fund the city match portion of this budget adjustment. And so the total budget, out of the total budget adjustment, 10% is what the city would have to provide. And shown on this slide, city staff is proposing Measure A funds. This agenda item aligns with our 5-year strategic plan, Goal B, community investments. And city staff recommends that the city council approve change order 1 with Econolite Systems authorize a budget adjustment to the construction budget, and authorize the city engineer to execute the change order and issue the notice to proceed for this work. And that concludes my presentation. I'll hand it back to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Andrew, for that presentation. And thank you for the candor in laying out exactly what happened. Although we try not to have any of these kind of oversights, but it doesn't sound like it is too far out of line. My understanding is you're saying that you're really asking for the increased amount, but that amount is really going to be contingency. So it's possible that it may not even get spent, but it needs to be there just in case. And it sounds like we're really paying out of our funds, just 10% of that, there's sufficient HSIP funding for the other 90%.
That is correct.
All right, thank you so much. All right, City Council, any questions or comments?
Good summary, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any public comments on this item?
I did not receive any requests to speak forums. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand, and I see none.
All right, then we'll return it back to the council for any further discussion or a motion.
I move to approve.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lamb,
Second.
second by Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Please vote. Motion carries, all ayes.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move to the next item on our legislative calendar, which is award service agreements for the construction of the Cathedral City Mountains Cathedrals Entryway Monument Project. City Manager, would you like to introduce the item?
Yes, Mayor. So John, are you kicking this off?
Thank you.
Okay. I wasn't sure. So
No worries.
John Carlo, our Public Works Director, will kick this off. This item is bringing back an original proposal by Councilmember Ross about having a new and consistent entryway monument program for the city. And she and two of the Public Arts Commissioners did the research and came up with a recommendation that was presented to the council and accepted. And tonight is the actual award of the contracts to construct.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, fellow council members, I'm going to just basically introduce Armando will be doing the presentation, our city engineer, and he worked really hard on this project, really shaving numbers down with the assistance of our assistant engineer, or our junior engineer, Jesus Gutierrez. What I wanted to introduce is the fact that what you're going to be talking about is a scale of this exact replica going into the median at East Palm Canyon at the east entrance of the city coming in from Rancho Mirage area. It will have a rectangular base, and for this meeting, we set up a mock because there was some discussion on how big is this. What you're seeing is everything that'll be above ground. There is going to be 3 feet down ground to be able to hold the monument and secure it, but that will give you information so you know it's a big enough visually if you're driving in a vehicle, and the Welcome Cathedral City, which will be done in our specific font that the city owns, will be able to be read by people driving by. And with that, I'm going to introduce our city engineer, Armando Baldazone, to do the presentation.
Thank you, John.
Welcome, Armando.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Okay, let's move forward into this project. So these projects align with the 5-year strategic plans, Goal B, community investment, and with the objective to develop an entryway appealing gateways to the city. A little background, and it was mentioned by the city manager that Councilmember Ross formed a subcommittee with the members of the Public Service Commission to standardize the city entryway monuments to give a new concept. The recommendation from the subcommittee that was supported by the Public Service Commission was to replicate the Mountains Cathedral sculpture located at 8 pounds south of Vista Chino. In March of 2025, staff presented to the City Council 3 size options. We brought scale mock-ups into the presentation and the cost estimate for the replicas of the existing monument. Councils expressed support for the half-scale replica. In that meeting, also, City Council looked for 5 entryway monument locations that staff later on programmed in the 5-year capital improvement plan to be annually constructed, subject to available funding. This presentation, we're going to focus on the location number 1, that is East Palm Canyon Drive East, that was scheduled for the fiscal year 25-26. In these slides, you can see the location for the proposed monument is the same location that a former monument was there before it was hit by a car. So the monument is going to be located at the median island on East Palm Canyon Drive between Day Palm Drive and Sungate Way. The monument consists of 6 stainless steel mounted cathedrals, 1 reinforced concrete foundation, a welcome sign with laser cut lettering, everything is approved in the logo guidance, fonts and colors, and the overall height above ground of the monument will be 9 feet. The monument also includes lighting fixtures. The proposed the construction of this monument has 3 major components. 1, fabrication and installation of the monument and welcome sign. The second is the construction of the foundation, and the third is the installation of the electrical system. For this third component, staff evaluated 2 options. Option 1 is restoring the existing solar system, and option 2 is to install a new hardwired electrical system that requires trenching, repaving across East Palm Canyon Drive. For the procurement process, staff prepared plans and specification of the 50% scale monument, issue an invitation for bid on August 7 of 2025, and the bid was open for 21 days, and we did not receive, no formal bid were received by the deadline, so staff proceeded with the informal bid process. So for the fabrication and installation of the monument and welcome sign through the informal bid process, 3 proposals were received after staff review license, references, and projects that the contractors were doing. Staff recommended that Hoffman Steel Fabrication is the lowest cost qualified contractor to fabricate and install the monument and the welcome sign. For the second component, the construction foundation, 2 proposals were received, and Westcon Construction Services, Inc. is the lowest cost qualified contractor. For the installation of electrical system, staff contacted Hot Purple Energy, that is the original installer of the solar system existing at the median. So Hot Purple Energy evaluated the system and submitted a proposal with the scope of work that include to replace the batteries to restore the system and add lighting components for monument illumination. The estimated cost for this work is around $6,500. For the option 2, that is installing a new hardwire system, we separated this part into 2 components. 1, the trenching, repaving, and conduit installation under East Palm Canyon, and installing the electrical components and tying into the existing power. The total cost of the two constructors selected and the total estimated cost for that one is a little under $30,000. So in summary of the options, staff has secured proposal for the 3 major components: the fabrication and installation of the monument and welcome sign, the construction of the foundation, and for the installation of the electrical system, the 2 options. Option number 1, to restore the existing solar power system, We have a lowest upfront cost and a higher maintenance cost. And for this option 2, install a new hardwired electrical system is a long-term solution, lower maintenance cost, and the system is more reliable. So the fiscal impact. So the estimated for the option 1, the solar system, the estimated construction cost, and including the construction budget requested, including the estimated construction cost and the contingency, is in the order of a little over $115,000. For the option 2, the hardwire system, the construction budget requested, including construction cost and 15% contingency, is a little over $142,000. The proposed funding sources. So for this project, we have 2 funding sources, District Improvement Funds. Councilmember Ross is supporting this project and has committed all her district improvement funds to contributing almost $106,000. Thank you, Councilmember Ross, for that contribution. And the remaining budget requested, depending on the option, is going to be a budget amendment that is recommended to be split 50-50 between gas tax funds and Measure A funds. If option 1 is selected, the budget amendment will be in the order of the $10,000. And if option 2 is selected, the budget amendment will be a little over $36,000. The summary of the budget allocation, the same that is in your report, is for option 1 with a total of $115,495,000. And for option 2, $142,097.62. You have 2 recommendations in your staff report. There are some parts that are common to both, and there are some parts that are changing, all related to the electrical system. So this is a summary of the recommendations, and the recommendation is to award a service agreement with Hoffman Steel Fabrication for the fabrication and installation of the monument, award a service agreement with Westcon Construction Services for the construction of the foundation. For option 1 solar will be the approval of the proposal of Hot Purple Energy, 15% contingency, the budget amendment with Measure A and gas tax for a construction budget of $115,495.65. And if option 2 is the selected option, it's going to be the approval of the proposal of Tower Electric, proposal of Rhythm Electric, 15% contingency, budget amendment, and establishing a construction budget of $142,097.62. The last 2 bullet points in the recommendations is to authorize the city manager to execute the service agreement and to authorize the city engineer to execute proposals, request bonds, insurance, and issue notice to proceed. That's conclude my report. I'll get back to you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Armando and John and Jesus, for all your work on this and for your presentation. And thank you, of course, to Councilmember Ross for generously contributing district improvement
Do you want me to recuse
funds.
myself from this vote?
You certainly do not.
Pardon me?
You're not financially profiting from this.
I am not profiting from it.
You're
I
actually
am
contributing and they're not even your personal funds, but they're
Not
funds.
even my personal
They're funds
funds.
you control, and
But
so
I'm
we
walking
appreciate
on
that.
thin ice. I just want to make sure.
All right. No, I think you're good. The attorney gave you the high sign there, so it looks like you're good.
This is city funds, it's a city project,
It's like I was
not
never even
related to
here.
your property ownership at
That's
all.
it. There you go.
All right. So anybody have any questions or comments?
So the question for the decision-making is whether it's solar or electric. So the only consideration I had, I'm for either that's reliable. And I'm just kind of reflecting on my experience on the Arts Commission. I was in the Arts Commission 15 years ago. So we could only afford 2 projects, and we lighted them with solar, and it turns out it was kind of an ongoing issue for maintenance and that kind of thing. So I'm sure the technology has improved in 15 years, but how valuable, I'd like a discussion about it, whether solar or electric to sustain this, because it's not only beautiful and consistent, but it's a safety issue. So, that's an ominous art piece that we certainly wouldn't want to be a problem for the community and the drivers with the light going out. So anyway, I just like the discussion about that and what the technology is like now.
Well, let me ask a couple of questions to help start the discussion. So is this the only lighting that's in that median, or is there other lighting?
Right now, the median doesn't have lighting. That's the only lighting. The only thing that is existing is the solar box. The batteries are.
But are there, I guess I should say, are there lighting fixtures in the median that just aren't working because the system is out, or would this be the only lighting in the median?
No, there's no. This is the lighting for. This was lighting for the monument. My understanding is that this was lighting for the monument that was there.
And there's no other lighting proposed or existing in the median?
No.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm asking is because, if you have a solar system in the median and it's lighting other lights, except it's not working because the batteries are no good or it's damaged, it might make more sense to just repair the solar, because then you not only get lighting for this monument, but you get lighting for the rest of the median. Because I thought I saw somewhere in here there was something about other lighting in the median. So, but you're saying there is no other lighting?
The information that I got is that from the solar was directly installed to the monument that was there. If there is other lighting in the median,
John, do you know?
I don't know, John.
If I can help you.
Yeah.
There was, with the original solar, we were limited because of the solar and its capacity. So we did light a few other areas. They did get vandalized. The main thing that we were lighting at that time was the monument that was there before.
Right.
When that got hit, basically everything went stagnant. The batteries were already becoming an issue, and then one of the solar panels has been vandalized. Hot Purple Energy has looked at it and said it can still function with this portion of the solar panel basically needing repair. So what it does is solar energy or solar panel lighting, to your point, Councilmember Lamb, it's improved, but not enough to compete with Hardwire Electric, which we would use LED lighting at the end of that. So it'd be very energy efficient on that. So bottom line, staff recommends the Hardwire for longevity long-term, not having to go out there and repair it, knowing we're gonna have to replace batteries after 2 or 3 years or 4 years, depending on the climate and how it reacts. So,
Okay, so if we go with the Hardwire, we trench it out and it lights the monument, and then at some point it's determined that we either need to add or replace other lighting in the median that might be necessary. Is it?
the Hardwire gives
and
us
easier to
a
attach?
lot of options, and yes, because it's LED, just one feed can do a lot through that, and it gives us a lot of options through that whole median going down to Date Palm Drive.
All right, because that's the only thing that made sense to me, is if it somehow restored the whole system and there was a lot of other lights, that maybe going with solar would just be the way to go, because then you would repair the whole thing. But it sounds like, no, that's not what was looked into, and that if there is other lighting, this will give you other options with hardwired lights.
Yeah, where the solar panel was located, it was right near the monument, and there's like one conduit there. Those wires would have to be changed. The conduit itself should be okay, but that's a very low-cost item, but it does gives us opportunity to go to the west and do lighting strategically along that,
All right, that sounds
that
good.
corridor there.
Well, I'll just share, how we talked about electric vehicles and we're all trying to go there, that it's appealing always to do something with non-renewable or with renewable energy. So solar always sounds good at the top, but the truth of the matter is an increasing amount of electricity that's on our grid is also made with renewable energy, solar, wind, or others. So even just hardwiring it, especially in lieu of having to have a whole functioning system that could get vandalized or damaged and will need new batteries. And one could argue that that is also environmentally friendly in the long run. So, you get my logic there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Other questions or comments? Councilmember Ross?
Can you clarify with me if the monument will have a base with that cutout on the side, or is it going to be just a rectangle?
The base is gonna be rectangular, and it's here, it's gonna be rectangular. Let me show you here. It's gonna
Yes,
be
I did see that.
almost
But
5
then I
feet,
saw that there and I didn't know.
almost 5 feet in wide and 7 foot long.
Yep, thank you.
It's gonna be rectangular, it's not gonna be that face hexagon or.
All right.
Oh, I get it.
Councilmember Gordon,
I get
did you have?
I do.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I do. Hello. My question is, how did you come up with the selection of the fabrication of these RPs? You said that you selected Hoffman Steel, but there's three, that was the lowest, but there's 3 bids, and the lowest is actually $62,000.
Yes, the lower contractor didn't have the experience, neither the license to fabricate the steel mountain cathedrals, and their experience was on wall lighting installation monument. So
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And, well, my other question is, do you know the cost of the replacement of the batteries in case they go out in 3 years, if all you had to do was replace the batteries?
the cost is going to be around the cost of the batteries. I think it is around $3,000, but it's half of the price of what they are putting there.
And the last span of a battery is about 3 years or so?
The span will be 3 years. It depends on external conditions. It depends on every time that you have high temperatures, the solar system reduces their capacity. So it depends on, it could be 3 years, 4 years that the battery can last there in the desert.
And my last question is regarding the previous structure that was there, our structure that was there. Now, that was hid by vehicle, and now what if we replace this, if this is approved, and the R-piece is installed, and another vehicle hits it? Will some type of insurance cover that, or how does that work?
The insurance of the vehicle having the accident need to cover the damage to the monument.
But
Now,
does the city
based-
insurance, does it have any insurance, or anybody can?
City self-insured, but this monument, remember that this monument, we're talking about 9 feet of structure, okay, over the ground. That foundation that you have is 3 feet above ground, 3 feet below ground.
Solid
That foundation is.
Right, but in case it does happen, our
Somebody's gonna
insurance, the
the
being
insurance.
self-insured, would that cover that and for the replacement?
Replacement, okay.
Maybe Kevin can answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, there's deductibles that it probably wouldn't even get up to the point of us paying the deductible, and it'd be cheaper for us to pay for that. But you can talk about it.
In answer to your question, sir, what we would look at doing, we do have effective, this will be our third year coming up, July 1st, but these past 2 years, we now have a fine art policy that we did not have before, and we would pursue with our insurance provider, Alliant, that could this be, these 5 monuments be added to that fine art policy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's it, Mayor.
All right. Are there any public comments on this item?
I did not receive any requests to speak for him, so we currently have no members in attendance.
All right, well, close public comments, return it back to the council. Council, we need to not only approve this, we need to approve one option or the other. So I don't know if there's any discussion.
Well, for longevity, I do like the fact that hardwire is an option. But as far as the amount that is necessary to be paid, $36,000 in addition, that's what is kind of holding me back. I'd like to see what others have to say about it. Which way would you rather go?
I have a similar concern, and I think the upfront cost, the longevity of the upfront cost seems to offset the sort of repeated short-term costs of the solar. So I'm leaning towards the hardwired just because I think if we're talking 3 years, if we're talking vandalism, if we're talking, sort of variables on the solar, it seems to me the hardwired option and the option of the hardwired being able to sort of stretch into other lighting options at the median, it seems like a good upfront cost versus sort of ongoing cost and maintenance for solar, despite the fact that, as Mayor Gregory said earlier, there's the attractiveness of the renewable energy.
So let me ask, we do have to, this would require the trench, hardwire, the trench, Palm Canyon. We're not concerned about damaging the roadway there at all?
No, there's no problem to trenching. There is a gas line crossing that we need to have inspection from the gas company, but there's
Okay.
no
And
other.
They'll fix it back nice and smooth. They'll make sure.
Yes,
All right.
repaving is included in the, repaving of the trenching is included in the proposal from the company.
So the road does have to be cut in order to trench it, correct? And then it will be repaired.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time by CVWD and gas company and others, without our permission or control, but just wanted to verify. So I tend to agree. What I'm hearing is that the solar system here and maybe other places, and Councilmember Lamb shared her experience, although it was a little bit in the past, but it's probably similar, that they're subject to vandalism and to being more affected by our extreme weather, it sounds like. So although, like I said, we always are looking for renewable energy opportunities, it sounds like for this small system, it's just not worth it. And that's why I was trying to point out a lot of our hardwired electric is renewable, and it's ever increasing anyways. So one might say with a very low electrical use and using hardwire, it's not a great difference when it comes to the renewable energy part of it, especially against the increased expenses because of vandalism and maintenance. So I would tend to support the hardwire option also.
I agree with what you mentioned, Mayor, because the options of other electrical items to be installed, it opens up our options in the future.
I think you're right. All right. So are we ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the hardwire.
I second.
A motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Councilmember Lamb.
Please vote. Are we having trouble seeing the vote? I do see 3 that are not in there.
Yes. Where is it?
I don't see it.
I keep reducing everything and I don't see it.
Oh, so I did this little refresh right here, a little refresh, and then it took a second, and it came up. So
Anything yet?
Maybe.
we're figuring it out.
Yes.
Okay, and motion carries, all ayes.
Thank you, Mayor. That was it. Refresh.
Yeah, it worked. It's a miracle. All right. Looks like we're nearing the end of our agenda. Our next item is discussion on a future agenda items. Is there anything pressing before we go to goal setting and get to add things there? No, I see none. We did hold a closed session, so I will ask the city attorney if he will please report the results of our closed session.
I'd be happy to do that, Mayor. During our afternoon session, we did have 2 items of closed session that the council dealt with. The first was a public employee appointment with regard to the position of city manager. You did discuss that item, but there's no reportable action on that item at this time. You also had a conference with your labor negotiator with regard to the description in the agenda. You did have discussion and gave direction to your labor negotiator, but there was no other reportable action on that item either. And that concludes your closed session agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, if there's nothing else for the good of the public, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.